After we announced my pregnancy, my SILs planned to humiliate me. At my husband's party, backfired, landing her in jail and a divorce. My name's Claire, 32 years old, female, and I've been married to Harry, 34, for 7 years. We've been happy, solid even, except for one shadow that's been there since day one. His sister, Kayla, 30. And when I say shadow, I don't mean the quiet kind that follows you. I mean the kind that looms, stretches, makes everything colder. The first time I met her, she looked me up and down like I was a cheap knockoff of something she already owned. Harry and I have been dating for about 6 months, and he wanted me to meet his family. He was so excited, practically bouncing, telling me, Kayla's got a big personality, but she'll come around. He always gave her the benefit of the doubt like it was second nature. That dinner, she spent the entire night reminiscing about Harry's ex, Danielle. How Danielle had better style, how she could actually cook, how she was family. Imagine sitting there nodding, smiling, while this woman tries to erase you right in front of the man you love. Harry told her to stop once, but it was brushed off with a sing-songy, I'm just teasing, lighten up. It only got worse. At our engagement party, she wore a dress so tight and low-cut people whispered about it all night. She sat herself right next to Harry, not me, and laughed a little too hard at every joke he made. Then at the actual wedding, God, I'll never forget this, she showed up in a black gown. Not just black, but funereal, lacy, dramatic, with a veil, like she was mourning. People literally asked if she'd confused the event for a funeral. I remember standing in the bridal suite before the ceremony, my veil-pinned dress perfectly fitted, and my mom whispering in my ear, don't let her ruin this day. And I tried. For Harry. For myself. I forced myself to smile through her whispered comments, through the side eyes, through the way she danced with him like it was her night. I convinced myself she was just jealous, maybe. Or broken. I didn't want to admit that she was cruel, but those years after, they chipped at me. The little digs, the way she'd criticized the way I decorated our home. So boring, Harry always liked bold colors. Or the way she'd find reasons to accidentally bring up old girlfriends. She once mailed us a baby outfit out of the blue, tiny, frilly pink. And when I opened it in confusion, she smirked and said, I just figured you'd want to keep up with Danielle. She's already got 2 kids. Every time I'd swallow it, smile, change the subject, pretend it didn't sting. Harry would argue with her sometimes, but Kayla had this way of flipping it around, crying, making herself the victim until he backed off. Looking back now, I can see it. She wasn't just jealous, she wanted me gone. And for 7 years, I let her keep clawing at me, like maybe if I didn't fight back, she'd run out of energy. But Kayla? She wasn't going to stop. She was waiting for her moment. And when she finally tried to take me out of the picture for good, she almost destroyed herself instead. Hey guys, real quick before we keep going, don't forget to sub and drop a like if you're enjoying the story. And tell me what you think in the comments. I'll feature the best one in the next video. When I found out I was pregnant, I cried in Harry's arms like my whole body was releasing years of tension. We'd been trying for a while, and I'd started to wonder if maybe it wasn't meant for us. When the test finally showed those 2 lines, Harry picked me up and spun me around the kitchen. For weeks I floated. When we told his parents, they were overjoyed. His mom cried. His dad hugged me so tight my ribs hurt. And Kayla? She didn't even answer Harry's call when we tried to share the news. Just left him on red. I told him to let it go. That we didn't need her negativity during this time. But then she showed up. It was at Harry's birthday party just a few weeks after the announcement. We'd rented out this cozy little restaurant space with close friends and family. I was nervous. First trimester nausea was hitting me hard, and I wanted everything to go smoothly. Then right before we cut the cake, the door swung open and in walked Kayla. No invitation, no warning. She had this big dramatic energy, clutching a gift bag like it was a peace offering. "Surprise!" she said, smiling too wide. The room froze, all eyes on her. Even Harry looked stunned. She made a beeline for me, ignoring everyone else. "Claire," she said, her voice syrupy sweet, "I need to apologize for everything. I've been in therapy. I've been working on myself. I know I've been difficult." The words hung in the air like smoke. Everyone was watching my face, waiting to see if I'd throw the match or let it die out. I forced a smile and nodded, because what else do you do when the family powder keg declares a ceasefire? For the next hour, she played the part of reformed sister-in-law, complimenting my dress, laughing at small talk, even putting a hand on my shoulder while telling someone how excited she was to be an aunt. Harry looked like he wanted to believe it so badly. His eyes were soft, hopeful, but my gut wouldn't quiet down. There was something in the way she kept glancing at me, quick little flickers of calculation. Then came the food. Kayla waltzed out of the kitchen balancing 2 plates, saying she'd help the servers make sure everything was perfect. She set one in front of me with a little flourish, and there it was, shrimp cocktail. My throat closed just looking at it. I have a severe allergy, the kind that sends me into anaphylaxis within minutes. Harry and his family know this. Kayla knows this. I froze. My palms went clammy. She tilted her head, all innocent, and said, "I thought you liked shrimp." Harry frowned. "Kayla, what the hell? She can't eat this." Before I could even speak, Jamie, her husband, leaned over. "If she doesn't want it, I'll take it." He pulled the plate toward himself. Kayla smiled too quickly, like she was relieved, and my stomach turned. An hour later, Jamie was doubled over in the bathroom, then on the floor, then rushed to the ER, vomiting, barely coherent. And that was when everything started to unravel. The hospital was chaos. Harry drove like his knuckles were welded to the steering wheel, eyes wide, jaw clenched. I sat in the passenger seat, heart hammering, while Kayla sobbed in the back seat. "I don't know what happened. I swear I don't know," she kept saying, her voice high-pitched and trembling. Jamie, her husband, was in the ambulance ahead of us. I could still hear the sound he made when he collapsed in the restaurant bathroom, a kind of guttural moan I'll never forget. At the ER, everything blurred together. Doctors shouting, nurses rushing, beeping machines. They pumped Jamie's stomach and hooked him up to IVs. Harry tried to keep me calm, but he was shaking too. "He's going to be okay," he whispered, but I could hear the doubt in his voice. Then came the words that knocked the air out of me. It wasn't just food poisoning. He ingested something toxic. I remember staring at the doctor, my hand instinctively covering my stomach, like I could shield our unborn baby from the evil spilling into our lives. Harry asked what they meant. The doctor explained that Jomi had eaten shrimp. Yes, but the lab showed traces of a chemical agent, not something from bad seafood, something added, something deliberate, and suddenly my skin went cold. That plate. Kayla had carried it out herself. She'd placed it in front of me. Before I could even process it, security came into the waiting room. The restaurant manager had called. He'd reviewed the cameras after the incident. Kayla was caught on footage in the kitchen, hovering over a plate, sprinkling something from a small vial before bringing it out. When the security guard said this, Kayla's crying stopped. Just stopped. She went silent, her face slack, eyes darting around like a trapped animal. Then in this low, shaking voice, she whispered, "I wasn't going to let her ruin everything." I swear the whole waiting room went dead quiet. Harry looked at her like he didn't even recognize his own sister. The police were called. They arrived within half an hour. They asked questions, took statements, pulled the footage, and when they confronted her with it, Kayla cracked. She didn't fight. She didn't deny it. She just broke down sobbing and screaming as they cuffed her. It was supposed to be her, not him. She doesn't belong with you, Harry. She doesn't deserve you. I've heard people talk about moments when reality feels like it splits apart, like you're watching your life from above. That's what it felt like when I watched Kayla, the woman who had spent years trying to cut me down, get shoved into the back of a squad car, still screaming my husband's name. Jamie pulled through, thank God. But when he found out the truth, that his wife had tried to poison me, and that he'd almost died instead, the look on his face was something I'll never forget. Betrayal so sharp it was almost physical. He told the officers he wanted to press charges. Later, I overheard him telling his lawyer he wanted a divorce. And me? I sat there in that hospital chair, holding Harry's trembling hand, knowing life as we knew it was gone. Kayla wasn't just toxic anymore, she was dangerous. The days after Kayla's arrest felt like living in a fever dream. Harry and I barely slept. I kept replaying the moment she handed me that plate, her smile, that fake softness in her eyes, and wondering how close I came to being the one in that hospital bed instead of Jamie. Harry was gutted. He didn't say much at first, just moved around the house like a ghost, sitting at the kitchen table for hours staring at nothing. I caught him once holding an old photo of him and Kayla as kids, matching Halloween costumes, big grins, before life twisted everything. He whispered, "How did it get here? How did she become this?" I didn't have an answer. Jamie, meanwhile, wasted no time. He filed for divorce while still hooked up to IV fluids. He'd been with Kayla for 6 years, and I think part of him had already been living in denial about her tantrums, her mood swings, the way she manipulated every situation. But this was undeniable. His lawyer visited him in the hospital, and I overheard Jamie say, "She almost killed my unborn niece. She doesn't get another chance." When Kayla's parents, Harry's parents, found out, the devastation was unbearable. His mom sobbed so hard she could barely breathe. His dad tried to hold it together, but I saw him punch the side of their garage door hard enough to split the wood. They didn't defend her, not this time. They sat us down and said, "Our daughter made her choice. We stand with you." And that was both heartbreaking and a relief. But Kayla, she wasn't going quietly. Even from jail, she tried to call Harry 5 times in one day. He refused to answer, but the voicemails came through. Each one was a different version of her, crying, pleading, raging. "I need you, Harry. Don't abandon me." "Then she's poisoned you against me. I was only trying to protect you." And once, chillingly calm, "When this is over, you'll understand why I had to do it." I couldn't listen anymore. I begged Harry to block her. He did, but the damage was done. Her voice still echoed in my head every night. That week, the police told us something even darker. The vial they recovered from Kayla's purse wasn't just some random chemical. It was pesticide, concentrated, lethal. She'd planned this. She'd chosen something guaranteed to cause the damage. I started sleeping with my bedroom door locked, even though she was in custody. My body knew she couldn't reach me, but my mind didn't. And then, In the middle of all this madness, I remembered something. This wasn't just about me anymore. I was carrying a child, a daughter who hadn't even been born yet, and Kayla had tried to take both of us out. I realized then, this wasn't just survival anymore, this was war. Update, wow. I didn't expect so many people to respond. When I first posted about Kayla, I honestly thought maybe people would tell me I was being too sensitive or dramatic. But reading through your comments, I've cried more than once in relief. Some of you were furious on my behalf. Some shared eerily similar stories about toxic in-laws. And a few even messaged me saying, "You need to cut her off forever, no second chances." I guess I knew that already, but hearing it from strangers made it real. A few comments stuck with me. Someone said, "Kayla doesn't want to share Harry with anyone. She's not jealous of you, she's obsessed with him." That one punched me in the gut because it's true. She's been competing with me for Harry's attention since day one. Another person wrote, "Don't underestimate her. If she went this far once, she'd go further next time." That scared me because I'd been trying to convince myself she'd hit rock bottom. But the truth? With Kayla, there is no bottom. And then there were the revenge suggestions. Lord, y'all are wild. Someone literally said I should mail her a shrimp cocktail in prison. Another said, "Show up to every court date glowing and pregnant. It'll eat her alive." That one made me laugh because that's basically what I've decided to do. I can't control Kayla anymore, but I could control how she sees me. And the thought of her sitting in a cell, knowing I'm living the life she tried to take from me, that feels like the sweetest revenge of all. So here's what's happening now. Jamie followed through. He's pressing charges and filing for divorce. He actually came by to see Harry and me yesterday, just to say he's sorry. Sorry for not seeing how dangerous she was sooner. Sorry for brushing off the red flags. I hugged him and told him it wasn't his fault. None of us wanted to believe she was capable of something like this. The police are pushing for attempted murder charges. Kayla's been denied bail. Her lawyer is trying to paint her as mentally unstable and not in her right mind. But the footage, the vial in her purse, the way she admitted it on the spot, it's too much. She can't talk her way out of this one. And me? I've made a decision. I will show up to every single court date. I will dress beautifully, sit in the front row, and hold Harry's hand. I'll let her see the baby bump growing. I'll let her see that she failed, that I'm still here, still loved, still building a family with a man she tried to rip away from me. Kayla wanted me erased. Instead, I'll make sure the last thing she sees before the judge bangs the gavel is a reminder that she lost. And that's going to be my revenge. Not screaming, not fighting, not even confronting her. Just living, just thriving, just shining in the place she tried to bury me. And the best part? She'll have to watch. The first court hearing was surreal. Harry and I walked in hand, me in a simple navy dress that showed my baby bump. I wanted Kayla to see me, not broken, not hiding, but standing tall. Kayla shuffled in with shackles on her ankles, orange jumpsuit hanging loose on her frame. She looked nothing like the sister-in-law I had known all these years. No dramatic outfits, no smug smirk, no carefully applied makeup, just hollow eyes and greasy hair. And when she saw me, her face twisted like she'd swallowed glass. She stared at my stomach the entire time. Harry squeezed my hand so tight I thought my fingers would bruise. For once, he didn't look torn. He didn't look like the brother clinging to childhood memories of playing in the yard with his little sister. He looked furious, betrayed, done. The prosecutor laid it all out. The footage of Kayla tampering with the plates, the vial of pesticide, her confession in the ER waiting room. Jamie was there too, pale but determined. He testified about the divorce papers, about Kayla's obsession with Harry, about how she'd isolated him from friends whenever he questioned her. Watching him sit there, jaw tight, was heartbreaking and validating at the same time. He'd been living with the version of Kayla I only saw glimpses of, and now the mask was gone. Then came Kayla's turn. Her lawyer tried to spin it as a mental health crisis. He talked about her deep-seated trauma and how she lost control in a moment of emotional instability. But the second Kayla opened her mouth, the facade crumbled. She looked straight at me, not at the judge, not at her lawyer, but at me. And she hissed, "You don't belong in this family. You've poisoned Harry. You've stolen everything from me. That baby should have been mine to love, not yours." The courtroom gasped. Harry stood up so fast his chair screeched against the floor. "Enough!" he shouted. His voice cracked, but it was sharp enough to silence the whole room. "You almost killed my wife. You almost killed my child. You're not my sister anymore." Kayla broke down, sobbing so hard she couldn't breathe, thrashing against the deputies who tried to calm her. She screamed his name over and over as they dragged her out of the courtroom. I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch. I just sat there, hand on my belly, and let her see that nothing she could do would erase me. When the hearing adjourned, Harry and I stepped outside into the sunlight, and I felt lighter than I had in years. For the first time, Kayla didn't have power over me. She was locked away, exposed, stripped of the control she'd clung to for so long, and still, she had no idea the worst was yet to come, because living my life, building my family, and letting her rot behind bars wasn't the only revenge I had planned. Up at 8-2, I didn't think I'd be back here so soon, but after the hearing, I can't stop shaking. Writing feels like the only way to steady myself. First off, thank you again. Some of you joked in my last post that I should show up glowing and pregnant to every court date. Well, I did. And let me tell you, the way Kayla's face crumpled when she saw me with my bump, it was everything. It wasn't petty. It wasn't cruel. It was justice. Because she wanted me gone, erased, replaced. And instead, she had to sit in shackles while I carried the future she tried to destroy. So here's what went down. Harry and I walked into that courtroom like a unit. People whispered when they saw us, but I held my head high. I didn't expect Kayla to lose it like she did, though. You guys, when she looked at me and screamed that the baby should have been hers to love, I swear my blood went cold. Like she'd said the quiet part out loud. Like all these years, it wasn't just about hating me. It was about wanting to step into my place beside Harry. A lot of you warned me about that exact obsession, and I wish I'd listened sooner. The way she melted down proved it. She wasn't just jealous, she was fixated. Jamie. God, that man. He testified, and it broke me. He said, "I thought she loved me. I thought I was building a life with her, but she was living in a fantasy where her brother's wife was the enemy." He looked at me when he said it, and I nodded back because, yeah, that's exactly what it's been all along. And Harry, I've never seen him so fierce. When he stood up and shouted at Kayla and telling her she wasn't his sister anymore, the whole courtroom froze. For years he's been the peacemaker, the give her another chance guy. But this time, he was done. That broke something in Kayla. She kept screaming his name as they dragged her out like a child losing their favorite toy. The judge has set the trial date, and the DA told us they're pushing for maximum charges. Attempted murder. Kayla's being held without bail. Jamie's divorce is moving fast, and he promised to testify again. As for me, I've made peace with my revenge. It's not about shrimp cocktails in prison, like some of you hilariously suggested. It's not about screaming at her or trying to hurt her back. It's about showing up, living my life, carrying this baby to term, standing beside my husband, smiling, thriving, letting her rot while knowing she failed. Because the truth is, Kayla's biggest punishment isn't prison. It's watching from a distance as Harry and I build the family she tried to destroy. And when my daughter is born, I will hold her high, and I will know Kayla can't touch us anymore. The day our daughter was born, Harry cried harder than I have ever seen him cry. He held her in his arms like she was made of glass, whispering over and over, "You're safe now, you're safe." We named her Grace, not after anyone, just because the word felt right, like a promise that, even after everything, we'd been given something pure and untouchable. The weeks after her birth were a blur of sleepless nights and tiny miracles. Her first smile, her little fingers curling around mine, Harry humming lullabies off-key just to calm her down. And through it all, I felt the steady calm I hadn't known in years. Kayla couldn't touch us anymore. Her trial came 3 months later. I sat in the front row again, Grace at home with my mom, and this time I wasn't scared. Kayla shuffled in, thinner than before, eyes wild. She tried to look at Harry, but he never turned his head. When he saw me, she froze. My body still recovering, but stronger than ever. A photo of Grace tucked into my purse. The prosecution laid everything bare. The video of her poisoning the shrimp, the vial of pesticide, her own words in the hospital waiting room. Jamie's testimony sealed it. His voice shook, but he never wavered. She tried to murder her own sister-in-law and unborn niece, he told the court. She nearly killed me instead. That is who she is. Kayla's lawyer begged for leniency, claimed she was mentally unwell, that she needed treatment, not punishment. But when the judge read the verdict, guilty on all counts, sentenced to 15 years without parole, Kayla screamed. She kicked the bench, tried to lunge toward us, had to be dragged out by 2 deputies. Her voice cracked on Harry's name until it disappeared down the hall. Harry didn't flinch. He just took my hand, kissed it, and whispered, "It's over." And he was right. Afterward, Jamie came up to us. His divorce was finalized. He looked exhausted, but free. He told us he was moving out of state to start over, and we hugged him goodbye. "She won't haunt me anymore," he said quietly. "Don't let her haunt you either." Now, months later, I sit in the nursery rocking Grace while Harry hums in the doorway. Our house feels warm again, unshadowed. Kayla's name isn't spoken here. She chose her path, and it led her exactly where she belongs. Sometimes I catch myself staring at Grace and thinking about that plate of shrimp. How close we came. How thin the line was between this life and a very different one. But then she giggles, or Harry kisses my forehead, and I know Kayla didn't win. She never will, because we're here. We're together. We're whole. And she's gone. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel and like it. You can also watch more shocking stories in the playlist.